Well, hi everybody, this is DearMamaSal, and as you can see, I'm out and about. I'm off to the cop shop. How about that? Not my local cop shop, but one a little bit farther away, because I've got to get myself a criminal record check for this event that I'm going to be at this weekend. And one of the things I need for that is to have, if possible, a criminal record check. I actually technically don't need one because I am a speaker for them rather than on the committee. But I'm going to get one anyway, just in case. So that's what I'm off to do at the moment. I thought I'd talk to you a little bit today. I've had this request from one of the viewers called Michelle to talk a little bit more about anxiety. So what I do want to just make sure that everybody understands is we have a wonderful example of how to overcome anxiety with one of our viewers on the broadcast. And this particular broadcast viewer had really serious anxiety problems, enough that it kept her inside the house for 3 years. And now she's out and about, and the last we heard, Leslie's off to Spain for a vacation. All things that probably were totally out of her imagination a couple of years ago. But all credit to Leslie. And I have to keep saying this because it's what Leslie did for herself that has made this possible. So one of the things about anxiety is, number one, you need to identify what is it that causes you the anxiety. Is it going out amongst people? Is it fear of failure? Is it fear of being judged? Is it, find out what it is that causes the anxiety. Because really, what you're going to find out is so much of our anxiety is self-inflicted. It's not a real thing, it is a self-inflicted thing. It is something that we imagine. And our ability to cope is what actually causes the anxiety. And let me try and explain that. For example, I have found that retiring has caused me, strangely enough, a great deal of anxiety. I had thought that retiring would make me very relaxed and grateful for the time I have left. And in fact, what it did is it did the opposite to me, which is the reality of retirement was very difficult for me to cope with because I wasn't used to that. Not used to not having the paycheck come in twice a month to cover the costs. Not used to that sort of stuff. Now, don't get me wrong, on the other side, it's wonderful to be able to think, oh, I really ought to do X, Y, and Z, and smile and go, no, I don't have to. I'm retired. I want to tell you, that's a nice feeling. But on the other side, the financial side, definitely the things I thought I was going to be able to cope with better, I'm not coping with well, and that is because my mind was doing a number on me. And so one of the things that I am well aware of is when I start getting anxious, it means that my mind is telling me stories that aren't necessarily true. For example, it's dangerous to go outside. Well, no, it's no more dangerous to go outside than it is to stay inside. Or people won't like me if I'm out there. Yeah, that's true. Some people won't, but most will. And so I could have this argument for the whole day and tell you that most of the things that cause us to be anxious are stories we tell ourselves. There are people who are very, very anxious about flying when in fact that is the lie. They're actually very anxious about crashing. Unless you're claustrophobic, in which case that is an issue. Because you can't sort of just open up the door and go and take a quick walk. And so you will sort of look at it and go, how much of your anxiety is self-inflicted? Now, the only way to find that out is to talk to somebody and I'm going to use this word because it's important, somebody who's really rational about that sort of stuff. Now, in my case, I have a couple of people that are my go-to people when I want to be rational about things. And I have different people for different reasons. Let me try and explain. If I want to get some pretty direct input on financial matters, I'll go to one person. Because I know that they'll be creative in the way that they see things, but also creative in the way that they word things. If I want to think about a life decision, I might go to a different person. Not necessarily so, but I might go to a different person. Do you understand? So I've got different people in my life that I go to, and I have been that person for them. So I know that they'll never they'll never turn me down, because, you know, I've put in time. And so when I go to talk to somebody, I am also aware of the fact that I am inclined to go, yes, but a lot. All right, because that's when we are trying to that doesn't look good. 2 different police cars there. So I would recommend that you get a system going about this, because it is our human nature that goes, yes, but I've thought about that, and that doesn't work, if you like. And remember that if you're going to somebody for some advice, it's a really good idea to be able to shut up and listen, which is not my strong point. So what I will do is I will try and start at the beginning to make sure that I go, hey, if I keep going, yes, but just shut me down, because I do really want to hear what you have to say. And the reason I start with that is because I know I do it without thinking, because I have thought through a lot of things in my life, and so that, you know, a lot of the stuff that's going to come out I will have already tracked in my mind. The reason that it's a really good idea to go and discuss it with different people is because different people have different creative ideas about what to do. Everybody sees it from their perspective. So and their perspective is a good one for them. So the idea is to, if you go and talk to lots of different people, they will give you lots of different ideas. Now, it's still your responsibility to come up with your decision. And that's what I always remind people. You know, I can give you my opinion, but the decision has to be yours. I can't tell you how many people say to me, yeah, but what do you think I should do? I don't know, is what my answer is. It's not my life. Because you don't want to get sucked into that, because what will happen is when they make their decision, they will then turn around and say, yeah, but you told me to. And I go, no. I gave you lots of options. It was up to you which option you took. And by the way, there is never any guarantee that any option that you may take in life will actually work. Life is a series of decisions that we make. There are no guarantees. So really the biggest thing to overcome anxiety, perhaps, is to have courage. The courage to actually take the risk, which is why I always stand in awe of Leslie's courage. Because over the last couple of years that we have known her, she has done so many courageous things. And it started with actually taking one step out of her front door and getting a picture snapped so that I could see it. Now, I guess when I'm honest with myself, part of what makes me anxious is being out of control of my life in some way. You know, be it it's just really weird. You know, I've always been independent. I've always controlled my life as best I can. And so there is no doubt that somewhere in there, what really triggers me off is if I think I've lost control in some way. But panicking about it and getting anxious about it doesn't fix it. And of course, the big fear underneath all of that is, have I left it too late to be able to do anything about it? That also is very, very scary. And the answer is, of course not. Because in a lot of things to do with life, you actually don't know what causes you the stress until you get into it. You don't know what's going to be an anxious moment for you until you actually end up in it. But again, the sooner you identify what created the tension, the anxiety, then the sooner you can plan your way out of it, if you want to. Because again, I have to say this because to a large degree it is true. Not in all cases, but to a large degree. Staying anxious, staying in fear, staying out of control is a choice. In other words, I choose not to do anything about my situation. I'm just going to sit here and panic, you know, or I'm just going to sit here and worry myself stupid. That is not the way to fix anything. That just means you'll be more and more anxious. Make sense? Because then you'll not only be more anxious, but you'll also end up with the guilt of not having done anything about it. Because in reality, what adults do is fix things. You know, they see the problem and we all hit problems. Everybody that you see around you has got problems of some description. Don't think you're the only one. But it's how we handle those problems that make us either functioning members of society or else people unable to cope. So if you can't cope with something on your own, that's okay. Totally understand that. If you can't cope with something on your own, then the trick is to find somebody who will help you cope. Now here's the next piece of news. When I say find somebody to help you cope, I do not mean somebody who's going to do the work for you. Somebody who can give you more options than you've been able to think of. Somebody who can be creative. Somebody who can help you see a possible next step. All too often we're waiting for somebody to come and do it for us. That does not fix the problem. We will stay stuck forever if we keep waiting for somebody to come and rescue us. So think about whatever problems are causing you anxiety at the moment. And make a decision to take one step in the right direction. To do one thing to help you, help yourself. This is DearMamaSal saying, it's not easy to be responsible and accountable, but it is what it takes to be an adult. This is DearMamaSal saying, remember to look after one another, but most of all, remember to look after yourself. Bye-bye for now.